Hello, I'm Susan Elliott, the news editor for Musical America. Today we are speaking with composer Tobias Picker. Tobias is the artistic director of the Tulsa Opera. When the opera company was forced to cancel its season, they got a call from the local baseball team, the Tulsa Drillers, offering them the use of the ONEOK ballfield. So Mr. Picker and his staff managed to re-envision a staging of Rigoletto that was supposed to be mounted this fall anyway. And they pulled it off a couple of weeks ago on the ball field. We also have some footage to show you from the performance. So, Tobias, hello. Thank you for doing this. I don't know of any other opera company that has attempted to do a live performance in a baseball field since this started. So I think you guys have really set a standard here. You want to tell us when the idea arrived and how it evolved and all those good things?
We announced the cancellation of our opening production, Rigoletto, which was going to take place in the PAC we announced it in June or July. And as soon as it appeared in the Tulsa World, we were offered the use of ONEOK Field, which is the home of the Tulsa Drillers baseball team. Used to be called Drillers Stadium. They said, would you like to do something and you can use the Driller Stadium when we're not using it? And, you know.
Wow.
Said, yes, we would. At the time,
That was where it started.
That's how it started, because they, out of community spirit, the Drillers baseball team and their owners wanted to reach out to us, and after that they reached out to the Tulsa Symphony. There are two orchestras in the small city of Tulsa. I started this series called Staying Alive, which were virtual performances. We were one of the first companies to do them, starting April 13th. And we started actually with 3 a week, and which was a lot. And we continued them until the 2 days before we opened Rigoletto in ONEOK Field. So there were a total of 44 performances, homemade. And while we were making those, I thought, well, maybe we can make a Rigoletto somehow, a home staged Rigoletto, and do a virtual Rigoletto. That was my first thought. So I asked Jim Robinson to direct that virtual Rigoletto. We were getting excited about it until the production elements of it became, so cumbersome and expensive. It would have been really expensive to do. And then in the end, what would we have had? A movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wouldn't have been able to be done live.
Right.
You call it streaming, you call it virtual. In the end, it's a movie. We would be making a movie. And right. I don't see the function of opera companies making movies. Not yet. I mean, not while there's still breath and life in me.
Right.
Do I want to make movies and not have live operas? That was dropped, and some time went by. Then we canceled. Before we canceled Rigoletto, we thought, okay, maybe we'll do a very tiny Rigoletto in Veterans Park in Tulsa. or something, or do some kind of a performance there, and we were playing with different ideas like that. Then we announced the cancellation, got the offer for ONEOK Field from the Drillers, and we said yes. And I actually at first thought, what am I going to do in a baseball field? And I thought, well, I have a big stage. And at that time, I thought, in my ignorance, I thought if the singers were separated by 6 feet and they were in 6-foot square boxes on the taped, that we could do it and just have a bigger stage, and then they would have all these squares and they would move around like on a checkerboard, and we'd have a reduced orchestra. But it turned out that that stage would have to be enormous. Then I thought, well, anyway, I still want to do Rigoletto, but why do we have to have a stage anyway? We have a baseball diamond.
Right.
A baseball diamond is really, it's a thing of beauty, especially this old field there, that it's a kind of a classical, has a classical feel to it. Just, there's something thrilling about it. And I thought, well, why don't we just use the diamond and use the bases and aspects of baseball to create a baseball Rigoletto? And I went back to Jim Robinson, because we hadn't spoken since we dropped the film idea, and I said, what do you think? And he said, I'm game for it. We'll do it. La voce mia qual tuono riscuoterà dovunque ch'io riparli. So we had jerseys made and for the Mantua City Dukes, and our Duke was the star pitcher, and the opera started out with the Duke and Borsa and the others celebrating the winning a game. And they have beers, their baseball jerseys, they have their bats and stuff, and they're celebrating this victory.
Right.
And it went on from there.
So the question is, when you had this idea, what did you already had your cast in place? What did they say?
2 members of the cast were not able to come because of family situations,
right,
with the pandemic. So, but the rest of the cast said, well, this would be great to be
right.
able to do what we do again. We haven't, they hadn't been able to perform. They were thrilled about it.
Great.
Our production department did an elaborate study of safety guidelines and combined the YATSE guidelines, the AGMA guidelines, and the CDC guidelines, and where they diverged, we took the most severe guidelines. Right. So our singing to each other were 25 feet away from each other, if side by side 10 feet, and the nearest any singer would get to the audience was 25 feet. But mostly they were even further away than that. So everybody felt we had really fantastic safety protocols. Everyone was tested when they arrived. People were kept in separate bubbles. I hired a cover cast, which we don't normally do. But
Right.
it was like the old days when you had a cover cast. I had a great cover cast, and they were only allowed to sit in certain seats in the stadium, not go
Right.
near the singers. So it was very well thought out by our director of production, Eric Kyle. When we began rehearsing for Rigoletto, the numbers in Oklahoma began to spike, also in Tulsa.
Right.
And so it was scary from the moment we decided to do this until the fireworks, which were fabulous at the end of Rigoletto. I didn't exhale because nobody did, because nobody knew whether we would really be able to get through this without anybody getting sick or something. And nobody got sick, thank God. I mean, we did everything we could. We decided that because we felt this was an historic event, first of all, it was the first baseball Rigoletto. There's been an Elvis Rigoletto in Germany. They did a Planet of the Apes Rigoletto. The Met did their Rat Pack Rigoletto. There's been a Mafia Rigoletto. There's been a Mussolini fascist Rigoletto. But this is the first baseball Rigoletto. And it was also the first opera to be, as I explained before, to be done since COVID. And we wanted to document it. So we had a 5 or 6 camera film of it. Everything was shot from all these different angles, the entire opera. And it's now in post-production being edited. So the entire thing we're releasing, I believe, on November 12th. And the audience was able, because we had all these cameras, to see everything on the Jumbotron with subtitles, so that it was as if seeing a Met broadcast, but actually being there, and while the singers are singing, you could look at them too. So, but if you want to see their faces, the Jumbotron was great. I love doing opera in the baseball stadium. If I could just do operas there all the time.
Will you do your next opera there too? Do you know yet what you're going to do?
We're not sure yet. It really is going to depend on, it depends on 2 things. Well, 3 things. It depends on the baseball and the soccer team's schedules. It depends on the weather, and which is complicated in Tulsa on the plains, and it depends, because the best time is that first 10 days of October in Tulsa, most dependable time. And it depends on the science, and which will be guided by more than anything else. I want to be fluid and responsive to the moment. So that's how we got Rigoletto up and on the stage of the baseball diamond, and by being flexible. I would like to continue to do at least 1 show a season in ONEOK Field, because it was a great experience. We had 1,800 people, which is unheard of for a Tulsa Opera audience. And I would say at least about half of those people had never attended an opera before, because the Drillers sent out announcements about the Rigoletto to their list. So we had their list and our list, and people came up to me and said, I've never seen an opera before. This is great. What are you doing next? So that was very exciting.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We're always looking for how can we build. How do we build our audience? How do we replenish the aging audience? What do we do with how do you fix the audience problem?
Right.
For me, right now, for me, it may be unrealistic, but right now, for me, the solution is, I want to do operas in baseball fields and get people who like baseball to come to the opera.
I need to ask you about this, going back just a bit. What was the cost of this enterprise?
To produce it in the PAC would have cost $410,000.
Wow.
It cost us $250,000 to do this, and we had almost 1,800 people at the ONEOK field. We would have had, if we did 2 performances at the PAC, we'd have gotten about 1,500.
Wow. And what is the budget of the company?
It's in the low threes. We're a level 2 company. It's around 3 million plus. We're financially very sound.
That is great.
We are doing well, and no cutbacks in staff or anything.
So is it safe to say that you almost broke even on this event, because you did charge for it? No?
Yes. Well, we did with between earned revenue and our regular underwriting, we did very well.
Right. And is it your sense that the ball team will offer you the field again for no fee?
No, we gave them a fee. We gave them a fee and a percentage of the concessions. I think we got I'm not sure how that worked, but that's another nice thing about playing in a baseball field, because the concession stands, all kinds of food, and people can eat while they're watching, and then there are the sky boxes, which our donors love. Those were wonderful. They had private catering up there and their own private balcony seats to watch the game. I mean, watch the show, watch the opera. It was like a game, but it was so much fun.
Yeah.
But it cost us much less than what we have to pay for the PAC. They gave us a very good deal. So
right. So
they have invited us back to come whenever we want. We can't go there in the winter; it's too cold.
Of course.
They would like us to come back. It was very successful for them as well.
In terms of the future of the art form, do we want to be talking about that at all?
We must find ways of building the audience, of bringing in new audience. I really think that all companies have to find a way to be more flexible with planning. Planning 3-4 years in advance, you can do that with some things, but there has to be a way to be able to turn on a dime. There must be a way found to do that, to respond to circumstances. We've learned that something can happen in the world that makes it impossible to practice our art form. I like being able to decide in December or January, okay, we're going to do this opera in April, and these are the people who are coming, and then announce it. I think more flexibility would be good for the art form, and good for assuring its survival.
Good point. So we need to wrap up here, and I wanted to say thank you so much for doing this, and congratulations on the success that you had with Rigoletto. That is really a wonderful story, that something we can all take some inspiration and hope from. So thank you.
Thank you very much for having me, Susan, and it made a lot of people happy.
Good. Okay, thanks again.
Take care.